Huge news for AEW, WWE, and TNA. We're going to talk about it all in this video right here on The Ango Show. Yes. Welcome back to TAS. I want to kick things off with TNA news because TNA SLAMMIVERSERY appears to be sold out. Over 4,000 tickets have been sold to the event. Obviously, I'm very excited about this. We're just a few days away. TNA in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is actually the most tickets sold to a TNA event in over a decade. And now I ask you, do you feel like the partnership with WWE is benefiting the company? And yes, guys, I'm going to say it absolutely is. TNA has been absolutely killing it since working with WWE. I feel like they've been a very, very good, consistent television show. Obviously, they've been having great PLEs, but one of the big things about TNA was the fact that they do need a little bit more help getting out there. This is a company that has been through a lot of ups and downs, but they have a great roster. They have good creative, and they've been making the right business decisions. And I've said it so many times on this channel, the one thing that would really help them is getting a new TV deal. We know that Anthem is looking for one, but really, we got to talk about 4,000 tickets sold. I mean, guys, AEW at times is having a hard time selling tickets to a show with over 3,000 people. And obviously it is not apples to apples comparison, but it is important to acknowledge the fact that TNA is doing something that they had not done in over 10 years. And it's a really good thing. It just goes to show you the demand for pro wrestling is there. People want WWE, people want AEW, and people want TNA. So when I see something like this, I can't help but be excited about something like this. And also, yes, I do think WWE will have some involvement with TNA SLAMMIVERSERY, but that's what makes this fun. This is a partnership that seems to be benefiting WWE quite well. And it's really nice because it's also benefiting TNA. And I don't want to really compare this partnership to the one that TNA and AEW had, but I do feel like TNA is starting to see the benefit a lot more from working with WWE. And yes, rightfully so. WWE is the largest company, so it just makes all the sense in the world. One thing I do also want to point out with TNA SLAMMIVERSERY is the fact that in terms of WWE's involvement, we don't really know what to expect. And I think that's probably why there's so much intrigue here. A lot of people just don't know what to expect. I think, you know, tickets aren't that expensive, so it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more accessible. But because they have this relationship, I do think people are excited to see how does WWE pull up to this event. And look, WWE NXT, WWE, you know, obviously has a lot of things going on there, but we're starting to see this partnership blossom between the two. I've seen people speculate that maybe AJ Styles could be getting in the mix. Who knows? We don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely something to be excited about. And this is something else to be excited about regarding WWE. I never thought this would happen. I genuinely believed that this would not be something that WWE would be doing. And obviously we take things with a grain of salt when it comes from Brian Alvarez, but he has mentioned that there is a massive change in the WWE thanks to TKO. He says that I was told that these new TKO deals are such that when you go to WWE, they are going to trademark everything. For example, Ethan Page, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, all of these people that are coming over into WWE are being, basically their names are being trademarked by the WWE. But now WWE, when you leave the company or you're released from the company, you'll actually be able to take the trademark with you. You'll be able to take your name and leave the WWE with it. This is like crazy. Like we've never seen something like this in WWE, especially in like the past so many years. So many people have been given name changes, and it's so weird and so strange how WWE does it. Sometimes it's calculated. Sometimes I feel like it isn't. It's always been a criticism that I've had with WWE, especially when, you know, somebody comes into the company and you just never really know what's going to happen, right? Like, are they going to get a name change? Are they going to be rebranded and repackaged? We saw it with Brian Pillman Jr., right? He came into the company. He became Lexus King. Obviously, the name change made sense, and it made sense for him personally, but also we saw Jade Cargill go into the company, and she got to keep her name, right? So this is not something I really anticipated. It's not something I really expected. I'm just glad that it's happening. I'm glad that TKO is starting to understand that maybe these are things that could be holding them back from having free agents sign with them. You know, Will Ospreay is a perfect example. He's built his entire name as Will Ospreay, right? That's what people know him as. That's him, right? So you bring in Will Ospreay into the company, it would be dumb to change his name. But if you're trying to own it and you're trying to restrict them from using the trademark after the fact, it could just get really messy and really complicated. And I just think WWE right now should be more focused on what they're doing, which is putting out the best possible product for your audience. And then, of course, trying to grow your business in a way where your talent could actually have opportunities outside of the business. So that way it in turn brings business and viewership to you. I mean, there's just a million things that they can do. I'm glad to see WWE change their mind on this. This was something I definitely didn't agree with for a long time. While I understood it, I still didn't agree with it. And that brings us to our final topic. Tony Khan is doing something that I've been asking for years. Literally, this is something I've been talking about for a while. You know, going to Wembley Stadium is a great thing, and I'm glad that AEW was able to do that, and they're doing it again. But now Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has reported that AEW has plans. They currently have a deal in Dallas to bring a major scale event to the area in 2025. And what's even more interesting or even crazier about this entire thing is that several sources have teased that it could very well be a stadium show and be on par with AEW's biggest event. Obviously, for a million reasons, I've said this would be a good thing. I think having a second company in the United States start doing stadium shows in the United States, it's just such a power move. It just goes to show you how strong the demand is for pro wrestling. But also at the same time, too, I kind of want to note this because I feel like it's so important. People are often talking about ticket sales. Now, let's just say they do, the Texas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, right? I think it fits like 100,000 people, AT&T Stadium, right? If AEW doesn't set up for 100,000 seats, but they move 40, 50,000 tickets, that's an incredible thing. So I could see that becoming a big thing on social media that people are talking about and whatnot. But my point that I'm trying to make is doing these bigger scale stadium events are always a good sign. They're always a good thing. You know, right now, I feel like AEW is starting to get hot again. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be an uphill battle, but part of that uphill battle is having a vision and a goal to work towards. And if it's going to be more stadium shows, I think that's fantastic. I also think, as somebody who was not able to go to Wembley Stadium last year and very likely will not be able to go this year, you know, the travel to Dallas is a lot easier than going across the pond. So I think that's a really good thing. I'm super excited about it. I'm really interested to see how AEW goes about that and what they're going to do. But of course, we'll see over time if it actually becomes a main thing that they repetitively do. And I just want to point this out. WWE does stadium shows and they're doing a great job with them, and WWE is going international. AEW hasn't done stadium shows aside from Arthur Ashe, and they haven't done anything aside from Wembley. The more that they do it, and the more that they set the expectation that their bigger events will actually be in a stadium, I think people will get excited about it and eventually want to go. But they are having an issue still selling tickets completely for their arena shows for weekly TV. So obviously it's a big hill to climb, but I feel like they could do it. I feel like they could get to that point, and ultimately the people who win are wrestling fans, especially if the tickets are affordable. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. This is the Ango Show.